Happy holidays from one half of the Naps and Taps crew. Joachim here, just checking in. Couple of Christmas Eve beers deep, having my customary Christmas Eve Guinness. Hope you guys are well. Sorry it's just me. Marcus is in Hong Kong having some good times with the family. We weren't going to do a podcast this week, we were going to wait until the new year, but I just wanted to check in because, of course, everyone else is talking about the Jon Jones saga, the latest shit show, so us being an MMA show, how could I not give my 2 cents worth? Well, as you all already know, Jon Jones caught pissing hot again. Kind of, but not really. Depends who you believe, who you want to listen to. People are going to argue about it on the internet for a long time. Basically, the story as far as I understood it is USADA sort of have tested him and he's produced what they call a picogram of Turnbull, which is of course the same banned substance that had him sort of had his title win over Daniel Cormier in Anaheim stripped. It basically boils down to about 1/1,000,000th of a gram, so the main argument right now is centering on whether this was a substance that could have been in his system from the last time he fought Daniel Cormier, which in 2017, which is of course what USADA is saying, which is why they didn't deem it a failed test. Of course, there are plenty of people on the internet who are, keen to believe that it shows that Jon Jones is still juicing, and frankly, who can blame them? Now, USADA decided it wasn't a failed test, but of course the Nevada State Athletic Commission also, possibly understandably, decided they didn't want to clear him to fight in Vegas. He had it, his application was still being processed for a license, so they said he could withdraw his application for that. As far as I understand it, if he was denied an application in Nevada, it would have meant that he couldn't apply for a license in California, which is why they gave him the application to withdraw it. I haven't got time to study this field, neither of you, so I'm going to leave the internet to continue arguing about whether this clears Jones, whether it means he's still juicing, whatever. One thing I do know, there's no way the UFC should have moved this event. No way. I've seen some really absurd things from the UFC in my time, but moving an event that close to game day is craziness to me. Like Jon Jones is their cash cow, their golden boy. I get it. Dana White doesn't want to throw him under the bus. Let's be honest, Vegas is a city where it relies on its tourism industry. It's a party town. Like, how many people at a UFC event in Vegas do you think are locals? Less than half? Like, you're talking about people who've booked flights, hotels, the ticket. I mean, cool story for giving them a refund on the ticket, but they're kind of fucked for their cost of the hotel and their flights. I get it. Dana doesn't want to throw Jon Jones under the bus when he thinks this has been an unfair result, but at some point you just need to sort of say to the guy, we're on your side, we believe you, but unfortunately, this event's scheduled to take place in Vegas. The Nevada State Athletic Commission won't clear you, so we're on your side. But because of the other fighters coming from this event who have booked hotels and travel, the fighters' families, the fans who have all booked travel and accommodation in Vegas, we believe you, but this event needs to go on without you. Moving the event serves as a huge FU to every other fighter on the card, some of which who won't be earning a fortune, especially the ones further down the card. Those fighters have still, booked accommodation, booked flights, their families have booked accommodation and flights. I mean, if you want to back Jones up on this, just sort of say, hey, we've got your back. It's unfortunate that the Nevada State Athletic Commission won't sanction you, but we'll get this fight on another card down the road in a different district. I also don't think this does any favours to Jon Jones in the court of public opinion. Now, the public's basically seeing him for what this is, which is the UFC basically sort of throwing everyone under the bus, fans, fighters alike, just to still have him fight on this event. I myself, I've personally travelled for 4 UFC events. Travelled to Las Vegas 3 times from New Zealand, and once, now that I live in Toronto, I've travelled to New York City for a UFC event there. Now, it's got to throw UFC fans like myself and others into thinking, can we travel for UFC events? Should we? Sorry, I was at UFC 200, which was meant to feature Jon Jones versus Cormier as a headlining fight, only for Jones to piss hot 2 days out from that one. Sure. But the UFC's willingness to move this event at the drop of a hat, disregarding all the fans who have, laid out incredible amounts of money on flights and accommodation, has got to throw into question for the rest of us, should we travel for UFC events anymore? Thank you for listening to my rant on the Jones situation. We'll be back in the new year with more naps and taps. It'll be Marcus and I will be back. We're going to bring some guests to the show, so stay tuned for that in January. Have a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Please do it. See you in the new year. Os!